You know what's confusing? The analogy. So in this video, we are looking at what an analogy is, what it looks like in a text, and how you can distinguish it from other similar but different comparative devices, like the simile and the metaphor. So let's dive straight in. First, an analogy is an extended comparison between two similar things. Now the key word here is extended, because a short comparison between two similar things is either going to be a simile or a metaphor, depending on whether it's a direct or an implied comparison. So the first thing to bear in mind when it comes to analogies is that they tend to be relatively longer descriptions and could span anywhere from a good number of lines to even a couple of stanzas in poetry or paragraphs in prose. So, how can you go about identifying an analogy? The trick here is to note if something is broken down into smaller parts or components and then compared to the other parts and components of another thing. This is why analogies tend to be reserved for comparisons of bigger, broader things like situations and themes, as opposed to smaller scale things like objects and ideas. To illustrate what analogies look like in a text, I figured that we could read Carol Ann Duffy's poem Valentine to find out. So here we go. Not a red rose or a satin heart. I give you an onion. It is a moon wrapped in brown paper. It promises light like the careful undressing of love. Here, it will blind you with tears like a lover. It will make your reflection a wobbling photo of grief. I am trying to be truthful, not a cute card or a kissogram. I give you an onion. Its fierce kiss will stay on your lips, possessive and faithful, as we are, for as long as we are. Take it. Its platinum loops shrink to a wedding ring, if you like. Lethal. Its scent will cling to your fingers, cling to your knife. So, what's the analogy here? If you've noticed, there is one reference that keeps popping up in the poem, and that is the onion. So we see that Duffy compares the different aspects of a lover to the various traits of an onion. And when we think about it, the comparison does make sense, because lovers are in many ways kind of like onions. How? Well, when our lover upsets us, they make us cry, just like a cut open onion would. When lovers enter into relationships, the mark of their experience stays with them for a long period of time, even after they break up. Just like the way the scent of an onion sticks to our pots and pans, even after we've washed them. And so, like the multi-layered anatomy of an onion, a lover is a complex human being with different layers to be unpeeled and explored over time. So this comparison also implies that love, for all the emotional highs and lows it gives us, is, not unlike onions, a staple ingredient in our lives. It may not be something that's always pleasant to handle, but it'll always end up enriching the better part of human experience, just as onions add that kick of flavour to our dishes. And there you have it, guys. I hope that clarified for you what an analogy is, how you can identify it and explain its effects. If you want a detailed analysis of Carol Ann Duffy's poem Valentine, you can go ahead and check out my blog post, which I'll link in the video description below. And I'll also actually compare it to another beautiful poem by Philip Larkin, which is taken from his anthology, The Whitsun Weddings. So make sure that you check that out. And finally, if you found this video helpful, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want more English literature tips and study resources going forward. Go ahead and also leave me a comment below with any examples of analogy that you've personally come across, or if you have a question about whether or not something is an analogy. I'll see you guys next time.